Good morning, Rabbi Isai. We have a tremendous chus that Reb Chaim Levin is here with us for a while already. He comes every single morning, learns in the koil. So I want to give a great yishkoach to him and Yaakov Citron. On Rosh Chodesh Adar, they put together a big breakfast, and because of the whole shtick thing, I failed to mention it, and I put it in my slides a number of times. So finally, here I am. Chatasi, Avisi, Yishkoach. Every day since then, Reb Chaim Levin brings in a small breakfast. Hakar Satayv Yishar Koyach. Also, I don't know if we have the picture here yet. I sent it in to Gary. It should take another 10 minutes, and we'll be in here. Oh, here it is. The one and only Joey Levy, who's been part of our shir and a big supporter of the shir. He came to Europe with us, made a chasana last night, and I had a nace because I had a meeting with Noam, and it lasted until past 1 in the morning. And 1:20, Avi texted me and said, "Are you still up?" I said, "Yeah," and I happened to be dressed still. So he videoed me in. It was this beautiful thing to be able to say Mazel Tov to him, Yishkoach to Avi, and Mamash Hava Kar Satov Yossi. I'm thinking about this. Yossi Klein with his Chassidish Lavush drives in from Monsey, comes into this chasana, and Joey by the chuppah is texting Yossi. This is the mishpacha. He's texting Yossi, "Are you coming to my chasana during the chuppah?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm 10 minutes away." So Mazel Tov, the couple should see a lot of simcha and good news for Klal Yisrael. Amen. I like this email a lot from Mordechai Groskopf. He says, "You may recall I wrote to you a few months ago about a meaningful experience I had during Yontiv when somebody shouted at me and I chose to remain silent. This experience was taught by you to stay quiet during your shiurim. I'm not so quiet during my shiurim, but I guess he learned something, I don't know what, which has touched thousands of lives, including my own. Who knew that keeping quiet could lead to so much nachas?" The email I shared, he gave 3 people a bracha, but on his way out, he was thinking to himself, "Wait a minute, I need a bracha. My daughter needs a shidduch." So he gave himself a bracha that she should get engaged within 2 months, and he also gave a bracha that same day to his cousin, and they both got engaged the same day. "I am now delighted to invite you to my daughter's upcoming wedding. Your presence would be a tremendous honor. Please find attached. I understand your schedule is likely very busy. The chassan is in London. So, Mordechai, I would love to come, but you'll ask my chavrusa. Because he's my chavrusa, I allowed myself to do this. It's a little bit of a chutzpah, but in his last wedding, I went to the chasana for 5 minutes at 10:30 to 10:35. I said, and he was very happy because I said, listen, he wasn't at my daughter's wedding for 5 minutes, but that's my chavrusa. So other good chaverim, I go for longer. And those who are more sensitive, I go twice. I go before the chuppah for a little bit, and then I go after the chasana, but if it's local. But I don't think I can make it to London unless we're doing a share there or something. So, but yishkoach for the invite. I love the email. You changed all of these 3 people's lives. I just want to show you some of these chashuv people. That's the subject. You changed all of these 3 people's lives. No doubt you changed all of these people's lives forever. The shaila is how. This one in particular, this is my father-in-law, the guy on the left. So I changed his life, Nebuch. I feel bad for him. The one in the middle, his name used to be Phil Byrne. His name right now is Pinchas Byrne. Because of the shir, he changed his name. And the other one is Yossi Schenker. They both do the shir, so Yishkoyach. And he says all the way at the end, I saw the whole thing with Moshe Feinstein. He says, Pinchas Byrne, Skokie, Illinois, a big fan of the goat, Michal Yarden. Listen, he's from Chicago, Nebuch. Reb Chaim, can I ask you in time for the crow, did I say this one in the English here? I did. Why is it doing it? What is it doing? Oh, I know why. Oh, Yaakov S. I think you might be here today. You might be one of your friends. Is that you? How you doing, Tzaddik? Dear Belly, I was thinking he's saying a good horror here. You might not notice, you might not realize that what he's saying has a lot of truth to it, so I'm going to say it here. Chaval, that our good friend Reb Nachman Seltzer isn't here. Somebody would have to explain to him what this means anyways. But dear Belly, I was thinking after this shir about all the sermons that go on shir exactly at the moment that you try telling a story. And I came up with a wonderful solution. It should help everyone know we're trying to make a status Please don't talk or have your phone ring right now and more. You should install a button at your makam that will turn on a red light on top of you, and hopefully the editors have the ability to make more than one status a week. Yaakov Strauss, Levat Torah, Megillah Daf Beis, Beritzifos, from Baba Metzia Daf Kuf Zayin Beritzifos. A bacher in yeshiva who's the whole day he spends learning Torah, but he's learning the daf every day. Beautiful, Yaakov. So what he's trying to say is that we try to do these shorts, take out one piece per shir. And it becomes very hard to do that if in the middle of a story somebody corrects. It didn't happen over here, it happened on the train, and it kills a lot of those shorts. People want it on purpose. They want to kill those shorts, or they want to be in the short, but they won't be in the short because the editor has to take them out. So the kids are, okay, great. The rebel last week, my shul went on a trip to Prague. We got to start this daf because we have a tremendous amount of agadah that's so geschmack today. So we got to get going here. On both days, while traveling by bus for quite possibly the first time ever, listen to this, the first time ever, instead of just schmoozing to my fellow passengers, I managed to do the daf. Something that would not have happened pre-MDY days. It has now become the norm to learn on buses and planes. It's MS. What? I did? Yeah, I said yes. Oi. It's kedai then to show the picture Nechama. You know what it is? Because this I also said today, but it's because I show it in the Hebrew shir after, and the kids it stays in there. Did I read this? Arnon, probably. So what didn't I read? Huh? Oh, you know what? This is Moshe Gutman from Baba Basra Daf Beis. Many nights on Zoom from New York, and of course this shir changed my life. P.S. My son Michal will be in Israel for the month. I hope he makes it over to the shir. Here he is, Rabbi Gutman, all the way on the right. Now, I introduced this yesterday, that the women are doing this WhatsApp group, and I hope that you men, you tell your wives about it, because you can get a lot of chizuk, a lot of Torah, help out. So there's a comedy thing, covered other comedy connection and comedy. Connection and comedy is called Tuesday, March 4th. Guess who's the one pushing this whole thing behind the scenes? No one other than Nissan Gans's wife. Makes sense, no? Push the husband pushes the guys, the wife pushes the wives. She does what the other women do. They give chizuk to each other. By Malki Knopfler, RSVP, wives.mdy. Should join. Encourage your wife to join these groups, or the group. Yishkoyach. Rabbi said himself sponsored. Refuah Shmuel Ben Alte Nechama from his grateful family. Anonymous for Hatzlacha, Brooklyn ובגשמיות. By Larry Cohn in memory of Yechiel Moshe Ben Chaim, who started learning Daf Yomi at age 70 and continued for 32 years until he was nifter. Anonymous for the unity of the Jewish people. Glenn Esterson, with loving gratitude from Wilmington, North Carolina. Thank you for enriching my life with Torah. Monthly sponsors: Leon Chaya Ben Chaya Yosef, Leon Welcher for the speedy release from house arrest of Ari Rosenfeld, Aaron Ben Hinda, Esther Gitel. Binyomin Rosenfeld, Hatzlacha in Parnasa. It would be better if he said Hatzlacha bit Parnasa. Okay, we'll read that one extra word. Hatzlacha in Parnasa. I'm just saying it's like the most givaldic, a three-worded thing. Yosef Ben Chaya Sara, Hatzlacha, Beruknis, Ubegashmis, Lina Ishmas, the fallen hostages. Ariel Ben Shiri, Kfir Ben Shiri, Shiri Bat Margit. Parnasa Berevach, Baruch Tzvi Nisim Ben Shoshana Leah. Amen. Monthly sponsors: Coil of the Month, sponsored by HYK Ventures in honor of and for the success of all our clients. By Yaakov Ben Saru, Mishpachta LeBrocha Hatzlacha. By the way, I want to point out that this picture right over here, it meant a lot to me, because those of us who know what's going on, like Noam Fix and Hillel and all those, they know that this, for Avi Kamiansky to be at this wedding, took a tremendous amount of sacrifice. Now think about it. He's not eating, he's not sleeping. He goes for all the way till like Shki on Erev Shabbos. He's been in America for over a month, and he might not be coming back for Purim. That's how intense it is over there in his trial. He's in court right now. He told me that when I was talking, he said, I have to catch a flight in X amount of minutes. He's like, he had it all figured out. He's going to the trial. So he came on a plane to the wedding. I don't know what he did. It was like, that's how friendly he is, and that's the mishpacha. It's unbelievable. Bemis, he's not schmoozing with us. I don't have time. Like mamish. Okay, anyway. He should come back with good news soon. Where was I? Art of the month. Did I say this one? It's a balagan here. Kol month, Israela and Stephen Perlich on the 20th yard side of Israela's father, Shlomo Aryeh ben Reb Yisrael Leiby Blech. Paras Hayoim, Sherry Michael Ben Chetrit. Oh, on the occasion, I forgot about this. Oh, good. On the occasion of the engagement of Baruch Brandon Ben Chetrit to Miriam Kassin. Mazel Tov. Shloshim, I haven't seen the guy in a long time. He has an apartment here. He's coming soon. Shloshim Elazar Meir Ben Rav PM Tights. What's PM? Pinchas Mordechai. That's you? Shloshim, I'm saying, I know it's not you, but you knew about this. Shloshim Rav Eliezer Meir Ben Rav Pinchas Mordechai Tights, Marda Asra of Elizabeth, New Jersey. His neshama should have an aliyah. And the art of the month. There's a lot of art today. Art of the month for the schus for rebellion, the whole of the wise staff to continue to make Torah so many. In honor of Yosef Klein and Marcus Shkenazi for all the work they do. Rabbi, so let's hit the Agadita. So, Mazel Tov to Tzvi Spiro made a shidduch last night. I know him very well. Yeah, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov. Okay. Details to follow. So, yesterday, before we get to the Agadita, we have to just finish off the sugya. It's going to take about 45 minutes, and then we're going to jump into the Agadita. It's amazing Agadita today. Hold tight. You're going to love the sugya. Maybe. Yesterday, a fascinating question. Ask anybody in the street, they won't know how to answer. Are you allowed to marry your own grandmother? The answer is midaraisa, yes. Midarabana, no. Are you allowed to marry your wife's grandmother? Absolutely not. Midaraisa, it's also. So, how do you know that your own grandmother you're allowed to marry? Here, your grandmother. Here you have a person on the bottom, and his grandmother, midaraisa, is okay. It says Abai because it says imcha. You're also to your own mother, and I darish it, and not to your mother's mother. End the story. Says Rava, I don't need this. What do I need a pasuk for? How are you going to learn it? You're going to want to compare the left side to the right side, the right side to the left side. You want to learn from your mother, from your wife's grandmother, that your own grandmother is aser. There's no way to learn that. That's what he's saying. That's it. It doesn't work. You can't learn one from the other. They're not the same thing. There's different chumras. It's not the same thing. Now, in order to understand what Rav is saying, so he says a very simple concept. He says it's called something called doimina vuki basra and doimino mina. Just a concept in Shas. Sounds scary, but it's not. So it goes like this. When I'm learning something from somewhere, I'm learning something from somewhere. How much did I learn from there? Did I learn everything? Every single detail? Or I only learn one thing from there? I just learned it's aser. Okay, so in our case, it would be very simple. I'm learning my grandmother from my wife's grandmother. My grandmother is aser. That's it. That's all. The only thing I learned. What's the punishment? I can't learn from the other one. I'm going to learn one thing only. Or once I learn from there, I learn everything. I take everything with it. So if I learn your own grandmother, which makes no sense, right? Everybody would say, well, your own grandmother, of course it's aser. Everybody, ask your wives, go home and say, is it mutter to marry, for me to marry your grandmother? First, she'll give you the whole drasha. She doesn't allow you to marry another woman. But that is just theoretically. You're allowed to marry my grandmother? Absolutely not, of course not. And the answer is not so pasha. Midaraisa, you're allowed to. Okay. So when I learn my own grandmother from my wife's grandmother, do I learn the isser? What's the einish? Sreifa. Do I bring the sreifa also to my grandmother? That's doimina umina. I do more. I learn everything. Here. So Yoshi did a little thing. Not that it's necessary, but why not? Two guys are getting a ticket here. So he has the donut, the whole thing. He gives the Corvette 1,000 shekel ticket and 6 points. Does that mean, so if I learned that the motorcycle guy gets a ticket, do you take everything with it? Does he get 1,000 shekel ticket with 6 points? That's mino. You learn everything. A ticket and how much? Or no, a ticket, yes, but you get less. You get only 502 points because it's a smaller vehicle. Okay, so that's mino. So let's see inside. Now we have a lot of charts today to explain this. Close to 60. But it goes fast. We're already holding by 23 because of the emails and everything else. Omar Abayo. Okay, so we're holding. Rav Omar, is that what we're holding? Yeah. Rav Omar. Rava says you don't need a pasuk. Why does Abaye say you need a pasuk to tell you that you're allowed to marry your grandmother? You don't need a pasuk. How are you going to know that you can't marry grandmother? From your wife's grandmother. You're going to say it's similar. No, you can't learn anything from your wife's grandmother. Did I say Yom Abaye yesterday? I didn't learn. Okay, so let's do Abaye. Omar Abaye. The reason why you're not allowed to marry grandmother, Amakra, imchahi. Here, that's the chart they showed before. You only chayiv on marrying your own mother or having relations with your own mother, and we don't give you any chiyuv midaraisa marrying your own grandmother. Rav Amar, I don't need a pasuk. Bein leman domar dumino mino, bein leman domar dumino v'ukibasra. It doesn't matter how you learn. Either you learn everything, you learn a little bit. I will not be able to learn out of Gzeira Shava from my wife's grandmother to my grandmother. Lo yasya, it's not going to work. And therefore, if I can't learn it out, then I don't need a pasuk. And what am I left with? That you're allowed to marry your own grandmother. If I learn everything out of my wife's grandmother, mahi eim ima amsura. So check this out. Let's just jump over here. Here we go. We're already at chart 26. I want to learn the right side from the left side. The left side says that my wife's grandmother is asr to me. Aim chamoisai. My mother-in-law's mother. Asr. So I'm going to say, number one, I'm going to learn that she's asr, so too my grandmother's asr. And I'm going to learn another thing. Mino. I'm going to learn everything. Just like my wife's grandmother is sreifa, so too my grandmother is sreifa. That's what I want to do. I want to learn everything. Mino. Mayim ima asura afu nami eim ima asur. Step number one, my grandmother's asur. Step number two, umina, and I'm going to learn more. Mahi b'sreifa, and what is the punishment? Sreifa, hot lead down the throat. Mahi b'sreifa afu nami b'sreifa. Now, first of all, leman de omar sreifa chamura. What's the most severe punishment? According to Rav Shimon, sreifa. According to Rav Shimon, that's the most. So now I could say that you can't learn my grandmother from her grandmother. Why? Now, just pay attention. This is only according to this mandomer of Shimon who says Sreif is the most chomer. Now, if I say that Skila is the most chomer, then I don't have this question. So the Gemara is going to say in a minute that if I hold that Skila is more chomer, so this question goes off, the next question goes off, but I'm going to be left with the third question. Okay. So what's the question according to this mandomer? By the way, what's great about today is that this is an interesting sugya, but we're going to have, fortunately for us, a chazara. Word for word, step by step, all over again. However, in a completely different sugya. Cool. Now we're talking about a grandmother, and then on Amud Aleph we're going to be talking about a daughter-in-law. It mimics the same style. It's a very different style, and it mimics one to one, but just on a completely different topic. It's like a new sugya. So, says the Gemara, it's chazara. If you hold that Sreif is the most chomer, then I have a bomb question on you want to learn your grandmother from her grandmother. It doesn't work. Why? Because of this. Hold on, I went too far. This is where we're holding. You should learn that they're both Sreifa. The Gemara says, no, I can't. Why? Because his mother is Beskila. So it goes like this. The right side is less severe than the left side. So I can't learn the easy thing from a chomer thing. I can't learn kal from chomer. The left is so severe, they get sreifa. The right is the mother only gets skila. So what are you learning from a very, very severe thing? One thing has nothing to do with the other. So that's one kasha. Void. Imay beskila, aim imay besreifa. What's more severe, sreifa or skila? According to that depends. We're going according to the man right now that sreifa is more severe. We just said limman domar sreifa is more severe, right? Does it make any sense to you? Look at the chart on the right side. Does it make any sense that your own mother, who's closer to you, she gets the less severe punishment of skila, and the grandmother, which we didn't know anything about, but we just learned her from your wife's grandmother, she should get a more severe punishment, Sreifa? Doesn't make sense. What? Both. Okay. Yeah. Both should get Sreifa. How's it possible? Now, if you say that skila is more severe, now it makes a lot of sense. And that's why this question will fall off according to the Manda Amar. I'm just saying it now because I don't want to say it later. It's going to be too difficult. This is only a question if you say that Sreifa is Chamor and skila is Kal. It makes no sense that a grandmother should get the more severe punishment than your own mother. But it makes a lot of sense that if Sreifa is less severe, like we paskin, like the Chachamim, your mother you get the most severe, your grandmother you get less severe. That's great. So this question will fall off according to the Manda Amar. Void. Another question. I want to learn the right side. I want to learn my grandmother from my wife's grandmother. But look, and my grandmother, everything's the same. The mother and the grandmother are both the same, identical einish. They're both Sreifa. So to make is it important now? Middle of the sugya? Oh, I skipped sponsors. Wow. Okay, this is very important actually. Okay, so we'll get to it. Let's find a break. You'll tell me when there's a break. I'll do it. So, what's going on here? This is super simple. On the left side, they're both Sreifa. So on the right side, make them both Skila. Or both Sreifa. Well, you can't make them both Sreifa because the mother we know is Skila. So make them both Skila. But the point of this question is, since I don't know what to do, I could either learn my grandmother, I could learn from my wife's grandmother and make her Sreifa, or I could learn her from her own mother and make her Skila. So since I don't know what to do, that's enough to throw this whole thing out. That's what Rashi explains. That's the whole sugi. If I don't know, I just don't know what to give her. What punishment should I give? I don't know what to give. It's gone. Now, just to explain, I did a minute ago, but I don't want to get into it exactly. But here, look what Yoshi did, at least for this sugya. We had 3 questions, question 1, 2, and 3. Those are all dependent. The 1 and 2 are dependent on the questions only if you say Sreifa is more severe. Let's go to number 2 on the right top corner. We just said, how is it possible that the mother, that the mother gets a less of a einish than the grandmother? But that's only if you say Sreifa is more chomer. If it's the reverse, so the mother just got the more. So 1 and 2 fall off the table. We're going to be left with this last one. Who told you, maybe let's mimic your wife's grandmother and mother, the einish, the penalty is Sreifa. So too, mother and grandmother on the husband's side should be Skila. So now I'm confused. I don't know what to do. You're telling me, and I should learn both. You should learn Sreifa also, that the grandmother gets Sreifa. No, maybe she should get Skila. So since I'm confused, I could go both ways. I have 2 ways to learn it. I don't learn anything. Just because of this 3rd question, I cannot learn my grandmother and my wife's grandmother. Now that's according to the Mandama that says Domino. Now let's just take care of the other Mandama. What does that mean? I'm just going to learn here. This is what it means. I'm trying to learn the right side from the left side. I'm trying to learn that my own grandmother's also, which we said at the end of the day, we'll never find a reason for it. But Rava explains why. Because logically you can't learn the right from the left. So Domino Avuki Basra means I'm going to learn the right from the left, but only one thing and one thing only. That what? It's Asr. Not the penalty. Here, okay, so my wife's grandmother is Asr to me, and so is my grandmother. That's what I'm going to say. Mahi Eimima Asura, just like my wife's grandmother is Asr, Avu Nami Eimima Asura. Vuki Basra, and I'm going to just leave it the way it is. Hasamud Sreifa. Over here, my mother-in-law's mother is Sreifa. Hatzlacha b'skila. Why skila? His own mother, a person's own mother, is skila. I don't have to go there yet. So too, my grandmother's b'skila. Now, let's just do the question. It says Rava, the reason why I can't learn it. This was still going straight for Chamura. Yeah. Here it says before the Gemara. And if you say, Sreifa is more severe, I could ask, here we're holding in the Daf Yomi Amud Aleph, good luck. Malihi, Shekain Ima, shear's over at 9:30 today. Malihi, Shekain Ima Sreifa. So I'll ask a question. Here, look. Look at this. We have a big problem. Your own mother gets skila. Skila is less than sreifa and chumra, according to this man Damar. And your mother-in-law is sreifa. How are you going to learn the right side from the left side when the left side is much more severe? Another question. Question number 2. Who kihi? The man's side should be like his wife's side. Mahi loy chalakta, maybe the mima. Over here, check this out. Your wife's daughter and your wife's grandmother have the same exact punishment. They're both sreifa. And therefore, check this out. Now, your daughter, the halacha is sreifa. So maybe your grandmother should be sreifa. And if that's the case, now I'm stuck. I don't know what to do. On the one hand, I want to say it's skila. We established it should be skila. I don't learn the einish from my wife. I do my own einish. Why? I want to make her similar to my mother. Imai. But wait a minute, maybe you should make it similar to your daughter, sreifa. So now I'm confused. When you're confused, what do? You give up, in this case. You don't learn anything. Yeah?
Yeah, you're saying domino v'ukiyavasra.
Yeah.
Why am I trying to learn from Bas Ishtoy and Chamoisa over to the other side?
You're saying you shouldn't be.
I should be learning, right?
You shouldn't be learning anything.
Exactly.
No, you are. No. Uki Basra means you learn from itself. So learn from itself. Learn from the husband's side. The husband's side is a daughter. You learn it. I hear what you're saying. We're starting from the logic. The logic is look at the wife's side. The wife's side. How do you know what the einish is? You look at her daughter. Whatever the daughter is here. I'm not trying to learn from my wife's side. I'm just look at my daughter. My daughter, the same einish of my daughter. My grandmother should have the same einish sreifa. Or no, maybe I should learn from my mother. With skila. So I don't have any no Clarkite. So I can't say it's awesome.
Just out of interest, what's the einish for your wife's mother? Is it also sreifa?
Yeah, sreifa. That was in the Mishnah. Yeah, that was. Remember, we had the whole Mishnah. Eli and Srafim. The first. Well, yeah, there was the first word in that Mishnah. I don't expect to. I don't either remember it. Eli and Srafim. Well, it's the mother-in-law and her mother, or just the mother. But everybody agrees mother-in-law is in that category, in that first word. Says the Gemara. Okay, fine. So now, that's only because you said that's sreifa chamura. But if you say skila chamura, those two questions fall out of the wayside. But this last question we spoke about, that stays. And therefore, I cannot learn my side, my grandmother, from her grandmother. It doesn't work. Now, brand new sugya. So, yeah, let's do it right now. Sorry. First of all, I have to apologize to the best husband and father in the world, Shimi Leafman, on his 40th birthday. First of all, his 40th birthday. Of course, the Torah to Rebelli for changing all our lives and bringing so many people to Torah. From your wife, Benji, Miri, and Dina. I apologize. I really wanted to make a video for Shimi. Maybe I could still do it. But I was overwhelmed with these video requests, and I said, okay, I'll do it, and I didn't do any of them. Shimi! Mazel tov. We should all be zoich to see a lot of nachas from you. You should light up Klal Yisrael with Torah, bring many more people from Mashes to Torah. Mazel tov. This one is missing from the list. Okay, fine. Yishkoyach. Okay, now, Rabbi said, brand new sugya, seriously. But we're all familiar with the whole thing. It's unbelievable. It's the same sugya, but it's a kind of on a reverse now. So, but it's the same thing. Now, check this out. Everybody knows that your own daughter-in-law is 100% usher to you. You can never marry your daughter-in-law. It's Issa D'Oraisa. What if you marry a woman, second marriage, and she has a daughter-in-law? How does she have a daughter-in-law? Before she married you, she had a son who got married. And that guy either died or divorced his daughter, his wife. It's your wife's daughter-in-law. Are you permitted to marry your wife's daughter-in-law? You might even be married to your wife now, and you want to marry her, you want to have two wives. Your wife and her ex-daughter-in-law. Mutter or aser? Mutter. Chidushim. Just for that, it was kedai to come today. So now, just like we did this whole thing about a grandmother, we said a grandmother's mutter. Grandmother's mutter. Make her aser. Learn it from her grandmother. Doing the same exact thing with a kala. Just now, the isser is on the wife's side. Before the grandmother was aser on the wife's side. Now, the daughter-in-law is mutter on the wife's side, the daughter-in-law on your side is aser. It's flipped. But it's the same logic. It goes with, Abaye says, I'm just going to say it out. Abaye says, I have a pasuk to tell you that she's mutter. Says, Rav, I don't need your pasuk. How are you going to learn it? From Gzeir Shava? Well, if you hold Daimino Mina, I have this and this question. If you hold Daimino, I have this question, so I can't learn it out. And if I can't learn it out, a kala remains mutter. Let's see inside. It's not a popular sugi in Shas. And you have both of them back to back. It's just interesting and cool. Imahu kalose asur. Now, it starts off interesting also. Ima, like as if we spoke about something before. Hu kalose asura. We know that your own daughter-in-law, thank you, mom. You're holding. We're holding my kala here. A kala on your side, on the right, is aser. Your daughter-in-law is 100% aser. That it doesn't matter if your son dies or not. Kala is aser. However, the kala on the left side, your wife's daughter-in-law is mutter. But maybe I should make her aser and do this. I should learn, just like your kala is aser, so too she's aser. Comes Abaya once again, mamish like by a grandmother. At the end of the day, it's mutter, she's mutter. And he says, no, I'll tell you why. It says in the pasuk. Boom. Rav says, I don't need this pasuk. I don't need a pasuk. Whether it's the Corvette with the motorcycle, whether this way, that way, whether I learn everything out of it or whether I only learn one thing out of it, it's not something I can learn. Why? Mahu kalose asura. Mahu kalose asura. Afi nami kalose asura. So we're going to learn everything from her. So we're going to say, just like your daughter-in-law is aser, so too your wife's daughter-in-law is aser, umina. And another thing, mahu beskila, afina beskila, as you see in the chart, we're learning two things, aser and skila. Now this is also a flip. Before we said lemanda, the whole sugi was lemanda amar what? Shreivas chomer. Now we're going to do lemanda amar, skila chomer. Very good. Lemanda amar skila chamura, ikele mifrach, malu shekeni mai beskila, toim rihi shima besreifa. Same logic, same everything. Well, look. You can't learn the right from the left, or the left. I'm sorry, the left. You can't learn that your wife's daughter-in-law is also from the right, because the right is chomer. You see, it says in the top chomer, and you can't learn kal from chomer. Look, his mother is sreifa, which is kal. It's easy. That's only if you say skil chamura. Now, if you say shreiva chamura, this question goes off. So the Gemara is going to say the same thing. The two first questions are going to fly off if you say skil chamura, and we're going to be left with the last question. Boom. Void. Another question. Bita b'shreifa v'kalos b'skila. Does that make any sense to you that her daughter gets the lesser one, which is shreifa, because we're going in the mandal that says skil is chamur, right? Just to confuse you, just to make you gishmak. Skil is more chomer. How is it possible that a daughter-in-law is more severe than her own daughter? If you have relations with your wife's daughter, you get sreifa, and with the daughter-in-law you're going to get skila. How could that be? Says Gemara, that's not a good kasha. Here. Yeah? Check this out. Does it make sense that your wife's daughter, which is much closer to you than your wife's daughter-in-law, and you're going to get the easier thing, sreifa versus skila, according to the Mandama? Says Gemara, but who atzmi yechiach? Check this out. Yes, that's exactly how it works in your own life, in the man's life. The husband, his own daughter gets a lighter misa called sreifa, and his daughter-in-law is much more chamor. He gets skila. What's the logic there? I don't know. It's none of my business. That's what the Torah said. So yeah, it mimics it 1-to-1. What's the problem? Maybe there is logic. Maybe people have a bigger problem with their daughter-in-law, so the Torah had to give a bigger is. I don't know what the logic is. Oh, sorry, I skipped. So we knocked this question off anyway. Even though his own daughter is closer to him, obviously, than his daughter-in-law, and he gets a lesser thing. lo chalakta boy ben ima lekalasai. Afu lo tachlik ba ben ima lekalasai. Here, let's go over here. Both of them have sreifa. By the just like by your mother you get skila, we discussed that. Mother gets skila and the daughter-in-law gets skila. So too, by your mother-in-law is sreifa, the daughter-in-law of your wife should be sreifa. And memela what? That doesn't work because we're going domino mina. Domino mina, we wanted to say that we learn everything from the right side. Everything means it would be skila, not sreifa. And there's a problem. Yeah, we wanted to say skila, now we're holding by sreifa. It doesn't work. And if I don't know what to do, once again I don't know what to do, so I got to drop the whole thing. There's two possibilities here. Either skila like we started off, and now we're saying logically it shouldn't be skila, it should be sreifa. I don't know what to do. Now, if I hold that sreifa is the more severe one, my kushya le'niduna, the two other ones fall off, and this last one, this logic that hey, let's match them up. They should both be the same misa. So therefore, it would come out that your wife's daughter-in-law should be sreifa, not skila. That's very problematic, and therefore I do not learn that your daughter-in-law is aser. I don't need a pasuk to tell me that. There's no logic to say that she's aser because I don't know what kind of misa to give her, and therefore she remains mutter. I don't need a pasuk, says Rava. Now, one more step, and then we go to a new sugya. And according to Madam, it says, listen, I only want to learn one thing from my own daughter-in-law. That she's aser. Exactly what kind of misa, that you could decide on your own. Here. So my daughter-in-law, she's aser to me, I get skila. My wife's daughter-in-law, she's aser, but then you could come up with your own idea. You want to say sreifa? Great, sreifa. But don't only learn one thing, not both things. Husband with the skila, by me, on my side, the husband's side, you get skila. Hatzlacha v'sreifa. Why sreifa? Where did I come with sreifa? Because her mother, I get sreifa. The mother-in-law gets sreifa, so the daughter-in-law gets sreifa. But if you hold that skila is the more severe out of the penalties, I can ask, look at this. Skila is more chamer, my own mother, I get skila. So therefore the right side is the more severe side. I can't learn right from left, because left is kal and right is chamer. You made a distinction between the daughter-in-law and a daughter. On his side, on the right side, you made a distinction between your own daughter and your daughter-in-law. Yeah? How much? What does the daughter-in-law get? Skila, which is chomer. We're going in the mandam that says chomer. And the daughter is less severe. And therefore, you should do the same thing with your wife's daughter-in-law. And maybe she should get skila and not sreifa. You start off saying your wife's daughter-in-law should get sreifa. Now you're holding that your wife's daughter-in-law should get skila. So make up your mind. If you can't make up your mind, then you have to drop the whole thing. Now, if you say that sreifa is the more severe one, then the two questions drop off. The last one of I don't know how to make up my mind remains, and therefore I'm left with what? My wife's daughter-in-law is mutter to me. I don't know what we pass in. I guess she's probably aser. I don't know, maybe not. My wife's daughter-in-law is mutter. We don't have a right that she's aser. Certainly, I don't need a pasuk, says Rava, for it. End of story. New sugya. And we're really going to get to Agadata soon. How did this go? Rabbi said it was okay? Says the Gemara like this. Limud.
Why do we say that we don't need a pasuk when we fail to learn it from logic?
Well, what?
I don't understand the premise of the sugya. We said we have a pasuk, but we don't need a pasuk because we can learn it from logic. But then if the logic doesn't work, then we don't need the pasuk. Then we do need the pasuk, I would think.
No, the opposite. You missed one step.
That's what I'm realizing.
If a pasuk doesn't say something's aser, then it's not aser.
Right.
So, but I would think that it's aser. So Abai says, I have a pasuk to say that's not aser. Rabbi says, there's no reason for me to believe that it's aser. There's no reason for me to believe it's usher. Why would you say it's usher? Oh, you have logic to say it's usher? That logic, I refuted the logic. Everything that you try to bring to me, any logic, you try to learn my wife's daughter-in-law from my daughter-in-law, just because they look similar and they sound similar, there's no logic to compare them. This one has streifa, this one has skila, this one, there's no comparison. There's no comparison, there's no reason to say that's usher. Let's go. We only have 3 minutes. How do I know that my daughter, out of marriage, anusasi means no marriage, she's usher to me? How do I know that? Omer Abaye kal v'chomer. There's a kal v'chomer. The what? Albas bitoy anush. On my granddaughter, I have. Look, there's a mefurish pasuk. Bas bitcha. It says mefurish in the Torah. I can't have relations with my granddaughter. So I have a kal v'chomer. If I can't have relations with my granddaughter, certainly I can have with my daughter. What's the problem with that logic? Enriching min adin. How you gonna kill somebody based on your logic? It's great logic. And what if I was wrong with my logic? What if I come up to Shemaim and they told me your logic is terrible? I just killed somebody based on your logic. You can't do that. There's three different reasons why it doesn't work. But says Gemara, how can I punish somebody, give somebody a penalty based on logic? Says Gemara, no, you didn't understand. It's not a kal v'chomer. It's galui milsa ba'almahu. How did I get to my granddaughter? How do I even have a granddaughter? The only way I have a granddaughter is from my daughter. So if my granddaughter is usher to me, so certainly from where she came from is usher to me. It's not a kal v'chomer. I couldn't get there otherwise. Now, what's an amazing, this is going to really shake you up. Look at this logic. Rashi says, but this, you can't learn a kal v'chomer. What's this? A person is not allowed to have relations with his sister. What kind of sister? The Torah only says 2 types of sisters. What's missing from here? The third sister. One sister is, she's related to me through my father. The other sister is, she's related to me through my mother. What about if she's related to me from both? Of course she's also to me. No. Stop. It makes a lot of sense what you're saying. And every sister that's related to me from both is related to me from one. She is my father's daughter. But wait, no. She's not my father's daughter. She's my father's daughter and my mother's daughter. She's much worse than my father's daughter, so maybe she's not also to me. You're using logic. You can't use logic over here. But I never got to my sister through something. I didn't have to crawl somewhere to get to my sister. She doesn't have to be both my father and my mother's daughter in order for her to be my sister. She can be my sister just being my father's daughter. But over here, the only way you can get to a granddaughter is through your own daughter. That's the only way to get there. Therefore, it's not. You don't even have to use the kal v'chomer. The granddaughter is also to you, so your daughter is also to you. Okay, so we have these psukim that we saw yesterday. It's called Heina. Here's the Zereshava. From here, I learned that my daughter at a marriage is also to me, just like the daughter of my wife that says mentioned in this pasuk. Let's remember this name because in about a minute you're going to forget it. So I'm just pointing it out. Since I don't have a pasuk to tell me that my own daughter is also to me, not my own daughter at a marriage is also to me. That's why I learned from a different pasuk. Ubas ish Cohn. If you think about it, it should have said the daughter of a Cohn. What's a man? A daughter of a man of a Cohn. It should say the daughter of a Cohn. Of course he's a man. He's coming to tell you because he fathered her alone, not in a marriage. He's an ish. It's the daughter of an ish by himself without a marriage. It's interesting that the girl gets sreifa, but the guy gets chenek. So maybe maybe if he has relations with his own daughter, she should get sreifa and the father shouldn't get sreifa. In that pasuk by Cohn, the reason why she gets sreifa is because she's mechalel, she's defiling, whatever the word is, her father. Mish mechalel is savia. Yotzezu, guess what? Over here, she's not doing anything to her father. Her father's doing to her. Her father had relations with her. He's his own undoing. Yotzezu shavia mechalel. Okay, so he doesn't get off. Rav Omar, how could you say anything like that? He says it doesn't make sense what you're saying. Over there, what are you doing? The worst thing that you're doing is you're saying that the guy, instead of him getting the einish that she's getting sreifa, he'll get something else which he normally deserves. What is a regular guy that has relations with the Eish Ish get? He gets chenek. So forget that she's a bas kain, he'll get chenek. Over here, what do you want to do? You want to say the father shouldn't get what his daughter gets. And what should he get? What a regular guy gets. But guess what? She's not married. It's even in a case where she's not married. She's a pnuya. So upon abala pnuya, there's no misa. So you shouldn't get anything? That makes zero sense. That she should get sreifa and he gets zero. He walks away. First of all, Rashi just says Einshim are always equal, especially the man usually gets more than the woman. So how can he get less than the woman? Doesn't make sense. What kind of din are you going to give him? Din of the pnuya mukvis law? You're going to give him the din of a panu bala pnuya and he's potter? No way. Next. How do I know? Every time you want to kill somebody, there has to be a pasuk in the Torah that gives a warning. Where's the warning over here? How did Abaye learn? He said a kavachomer. We said, how you can't mention a dinner. We said it's not a real kavachomer. It's glui milsa. That's a kavachomer. According to Rava, we had a pasuk hena hena. So wherever Abaye and Rava are learning, that's how you're going to learn the warning. What does Rabbi Oven say? Anybody remember? I told you to remember. I said in 1 minute we're going to have it. Ish. The word ish. It says, Vas ish kain. There is a pasuk, five words. Don't be mechal your daughter. That's the warning. I never something can believe the difference. This is where the God is starting. Don't defile your daughter. Maybe it means don't let your Kohen daughter marry a Yisrael or even a Levi. Where you give your daughter away, not for marriage. So I need it for something else, not to tell me the Hazara for your own daughter. I learned from the extra lamed. There's an extra lamed here. I learned two things from you. What do you do with the extra lamed? All my Rebbe money, if you marry your young daughter off to an old man who can't satisfy her needs, she's going to turn to znus. You're causing it. You're the cause of it. This is Issa Deraisa. This is incredible. Rabbi say this is not get to us. The first part, I don't know people that do that. But this happens in our society as well. It could happen. Where a father doesn't allow his older daughter to get married. Why? His own personal calculation. For instance, says Rashi, he needs a sponge cleaner. He needs a cleaning lady, and he can't afford it. So what does he do? He tells his daughter, that shidduch is terrible, that's a bad shidduch, and he wants her there. He's in the nursing home, he needs his daughter to take care of him. She's been a very good caretaker, it happens. He doesn't allow his daughter to get married, and what's going to happen? She's going to turn to other things. Who's this poor person in Klal Yisrael? This Rosh Hashanah. And this person who allows his daughter to go unmarried. You have it also, and this I'm not going to say specifically, but a mashal, because they might be okay, they might be right. But sometimes I know of a family who there's a bottleneck. The oldest girl didn't get married. She's 27 years old, so now they're not letting the 26-year-old even to go out. Is that a problem of a mashabita begaris? We said they might be okay because in halacha, you know, the first one has the right, and this, but something to think about. What are you doing to your daughter? Although mashabita begaris, lav rasha aramu. So Gemara says, I don't like this. That's two different things. Mashabita begaris is a rasha, a conniving rasha. Amar Abaya, harika amar. Ezu rasha arum zamashabita begaris. Who's the rasha? It is one thing. Who's this conniving rasha? That's the person who doesn't allow his older daughter, it probably means like a 13-year-old already. I mean, she's a begaris. She's 12 and a half, and he's not allowing a 12-and-a-half-year-old to get married. This is amazing, Rabbi Isai, really amazing, because it's negate to a lot of people. I had a whole conversation with somebody in this room just 2 days ago about this, not this idea. Sometimes the father tells you something, and we have this idea that you have to listen to your father, it's not true. if your father is giving you bad advice, he's telling you not to get married. In this case, he's lying to you. He's telling the daughter, don't get married, this is a terrible shidduch, that's a terrible shidduch, keeps on knocking everything, but he knows it's a good shidduch, but he doesn't want you to get married because he needs your personal help at home. Rashi says it here. Look at this Rashi. Look at the last word. He doesn't want you, he doesn't want to buy a shifcha, so he doesn't let you get married. That's bad advice, and you're not mechuyev to listen to him. Fakert. You're not allowed to listen. The question always occurs, and I don't want to get myself into trouble, but why not? I'm already here. The question occurs, should a boy stay shana bet in yeshiva? Father says, no, you got to go to college, you got to do this. But that's not the right thing, maybe, halachically. Maybe you should stay here. The Rosh Yeshiva gets involved. So, but I have to listen to my father. So it gets. What do you mean you have to listen to your father? If you believe, what do you believe? You believe this is the right thing for you. So who says you have to listen to your father? He wants you to go to college, and I don't want to go to college. What is the right thing? You have to think, huh? You're looking at me like I'm crazy, huh? What? Depends who's paying. Money talks, but it's not that he's right. It's not because of kibbutz aveim. That's something else. He doesn't want to pay the $30,000 here. Okay, I got it. Sponsors, turning the daf, other. Adar Global Experts in International Financial Services. Dr. Allen and Barbara Listhouse. And marry my dear father, Joseph Listhouse, on the 45th yard side. Where Yosef Ben Aaron Olav Shalom the Shalom should have an aliyah. Before it's Rivka Henyo Bas Shulamis, or the first Latino Yecheskel Yedidyo Ben Nechama Shendel. By Nad Life, Realty Bet Shemesh, and Moshe Einhorn in honor of Reb Eli and the entire MDY Mishpacha. Yeshikaya. I said them. I think so. Didn't you show them to me? Somebody who marries off his daughter to an old man, and you marry your young child, your young son, under bar mitzvah to a woman. Now you're causing that woman to do wrong things. So why can't you give back an aveda to a guy? So it says Rashi, because you're showing that you're only doing it out of politeness and out of what is it called? The word I'm looking for? Manners, etiquette, but not because the Rebbeinu Shalom said. Why do I return the wallet to the Jew? Because of the same etiquette that I returned to the non-Jew. So it's showing you just ruined everything that you did for the Jew. The Shulchan Aruch says another reason that you're not allowed to return, because then the Rosh will have more money to use for bad things. Says the Sma. If so, if you know that he's a upstanding citizen, he's a doctor, he's not going to use the money for riches, he's not a bad guy, so then you are allowed to return it. A lot of good stories here, but unfortunately we got to go weiter. I said them in the Hebrew shir, Ayin Sham. The thirsty will be satiated. Hashem won't forgive. You tell me you're not allowed to marry off your young child, your 9-year-old to an older woman. Unbelievable Gemara. Your wife, how do you treat your wife? You have to love your wife like you love yourself. And you have to honor her. What does mechabda mean? You have to buy her jewelry. Or if chas v'shalom, let's say your wife wears a sheitel, you should buy her a new sheitel. You have to be mechaber her. There's a big question here. I have to stop here because it says you should love your wife like you love yourself. Guess what? You have to love every Jew like you love yourself. After the recha kamaycha, it might be the number one thing. So what's pshat? Pshat is, they say that you have to love your wife to the point where you feel her pain and you feel her joy. You mamish feel. This, Rabbi Isai, some of you might not want to hear this. You can walk out right now. Nafkamina la'alacha. Nafkamina negeh l'maisa. What does it mean? If you have two things on the plate right now, two things. She needs you to turn on the oven, and you need to make your phone call. You have to do her thing first. That's what it means. You have to do it before. And you give chinuch to your kids in the right way. And you marry them off right before their bar mitzvah. So it says over here, you're allowed to marry off your son to a woman before he's even bar mitzvah. We said before it's a problem. Says Gemara, you'll have peace in your tent. You'll avoid sin. Says Gemara, the answer is if you do it a few months before the bar mitzvah, then this woman is not going to be chayta. But otherwise, if he's really young, she go elsewhere. Tana Rabbana. If a person loves his neighbors and he brings his relatives closer to him, so Rashi says this is Alte salam. Says so in the time of the Gemara, it was a big thing to marry your own niece. Why? Because you're very close to your niece, you're very close to your sister, so you have a great relationship with her. So you have a great marriage. Even according to Mandomet, the Mordechai got married to Esther, as an uncle and a niece. Avram Avinu, v'chulu v'chulu v'chulu. And a person who lends money to a poor person when he's dachuk. How do you say dachuk in English? He has a lot of pressure. Very good. All of that because of Omer, Oz Tikra B'Hashem Yana. I want to tell you real quickly. I didn't really say the story much. About 30 years ago, one of my relatives called me up and he told me he's going through a financial difficulty. He's marrying off one of his children, and he knows that I'm a big gvir because I married the daughter of a big gvir, which is true. I did marry her, but I wasn't a gvir then. I was very not a gvir. Not everybody that marries a gvir becomes a gvir on day one. So I didn't have much money, and he said, you didn't say it like that, but he said, listen, I need you to pay for my wedding. So I had a lot of akars to this person. He helped me out years before, and I wanted to speak to my wife, but it didn't work out that day, and I took everything I had in my bank account, everything, the last dollar, and I gave it to him. Sent him the money, whatever. And that was the first time that somebody told me about my first real estate deal. That was that week. A few days after that, I saw that everything from there. So I want to say maybe the pshat is like this. Hamal v'sela l'ani b'shatz dachka. It doesn't mean that the ani is dachak, because every ani in the world is dachak. When you're dachak, when it's hard for you, there's a different level of tzedakah. There's giving tzedakah, and there's giving tzedakah when you don't have, and you have nothing left. That's dachka. Then Hashem v'Hashem oz tikra v'Hashem yaner aboisai. Have a wonderful day.